Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel, where tonight it is Watford versus Newcastle match preview with myself, the Loverman legend, Mr. John Sinclair, and we are joined by Roberto, the Watford fan. Good evening, Roberto.
Good evening. Great to be on. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Right, we'll get straight into it, really. I mean, we've obviously... we've seen Steve Bruce's press conference today, Roberto. I don't know whether you've checked out has the Watford manager said anything regarding the game?
I've not checked it out, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But it's probably same old. He usually does seem quite quiet in his press conferences. He's quite minimal in what he kind of information he drips to us. But we're confident in him, and he's a great guy. So.
Yeah, I've heard quite a... I mean, John, you had a Watford fan on your show last night, and he spoke very well of the manager, didn't he?
Did he, Joss? I mean, I think, don't know a lot about this guy, but he seems very, very good with the press, very clever with the press, and he speaks well. And he did big up Newcastle, saying they're a very, very good team today. And that's the only downside about him. He'll find out tomorrow how good we really are, which is going to be poor.
I mean, Steve Bruce has obviously said in his press conference that, once again, bigging up the opposition, saying how good Watford are. Which he normally does. It totally demotivates us as fans, and certainly the players. I mean, if I'm playing for Steve Bruce and I'm seeing bigging him up the opposition, well, it's mental, really. It would give me no confidence at all. However, Roberto, you do have a couple of ex-Magpies in your ranks down there. Obviously, Danny Rose, who looks as if he's lost a bit of weight since he played for us. I think he was big into the fish and chips when he was up here. That's a certainty. And obviously... Mr Sissoko, who let's just say we took the receipt away for him very quickly when we got £30-odd million off Spurs for him, and you guys, I think, paid 2.
Yeah, it was a great deal. I think it was around 2 or 3.35 million, which was, I think, amazing deal. Obviously, his time at Tottenham were a bit of a bad end, really, because he was brilliant at times for Tottenham, but he just wasn't really getting the fitness, the minutes, and I think he shined for them in that Champions League season. They got all the way to the final. I think he was in the team of the season for the Champions League, so he can play an integral role. But it's great to see that a big fish in a small pond, so to say, that he can actually move on to Watford, and I think he really does offer us some really important dynamism in the middle of the park.
How's he actually performed this season? I mean, I think the guest on your show last night, John, said he'd been all right. He'd done well. I think there was one game he said he was poor. Do you share that, Roberto? Do you share that opinion?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So his debut obviously was against Tottenham in match week 3, and he kind of took a while to get into the game. I was there as actually in one of the Tottenham seats because I basically had a friend who was a Spurs fan, and he was able to loan it, so I couldn't go to the away game. But it was pretty hard to contain myself, as you'd imagine. But it was brilliant, and it's a quality of player like that does really help us out. Obviously, the selling of Will Hughes as well, we needed to fill that void, and I feel like there's this Watford contingency where we're always saying we need that midfield 3 to sort us out, and I think he is a big part of that. So yeah, against Spurs, he took a while to get going, got booked. He just took a while to kind of get into the swing of things, but then first half against Wolves, I thought he looked really good, had a good chance from a tight angle, and then obviously it was a pretty poor performance from Watford all round in the team in the second half of Wolves. And then against Norwich, I thought Sissoko was sturdy. He wasn't spectacular, but he was certainly doing a few decent things. And there was a bit of a banter on Match of the Day when, of course, he absolutely air swiped it, but then kept the ball and actually led to our second goal. So.
Crazy. So he's doing all right. I mean, he's doing better than our midfielders, John. I mean, we've got tomorrow. We're missing Willock. Some people think it's a bit of a play by Steve Bruce and suddenly be in the side, but I think he's definitely out. We're missing Lascelles tomorrow. Shelby's still out. Dummett's still out. Dubravka's still out. Wilson's still out. I mean, what do we do in the midfield tomorrow, John? I'm just going to knock my camera off a second for my camera settings, but John, just talk us through what he does in that midfield.
Well, it's going to have to play 4-2-3-1. So for me, I'll play Longstaff and I'll play here in the midfield. And then cross the 3, I'll definitely play Fraser. I'll play Amiron as a camera, and I'll play Murphy. And I'll definitely play up front. It's going to have to be Joe Linton. and it's absolutely hapless, as we know. And the fact of the matter is, right, I mean, you need to score goals into win games. And if you just change it up, and I've said this so many times, he changes things up, show us something different, and then we win some games. But he's not doing anything different. And that's why we keep on going on Bruce's back every single time.
I mean, there is rumours about him changing formation tomorrow, which for me, he's got to try and do. He's got to try something different. He's got to be a bit sure that he's a bit more welcoming to trying to change the formation and the tactics. But, it'll just be normal our luck that we'll see the team sheet get released at 2:00 tomorrow and it's 5 at the back again. But I think if he goes 5 at the back again, I think we'll get absolutely punished by Watford. I mean, Roberto, you guys have got Sarr, who he's like Usain Bolt, that kid. And obviously Denis as well. I mean, those two players, I don't know whether you've seen much of Newcastle this season, but those two players we will struggle against with pace like that.
Yeah, I think the point you made about the change in formation is also really interesting. I think watching some of Newcastle's games this season, I just thought they've had a lot of square pegs in round holes, and actually players like Matt Ritchie, who can go forward, has been playing at fullback, and it just seems a little bit of a curse. It's been the players we've had up against so far. The left backs have often had a real hard time of it up against Ismaila Sarr. So hope Ritchie doesn't have a Matt Target as he did and got absolutely finished in the first half. But generally, and I think the point you made is important. Dennis and Sarr are so key for us. They've got a great relationship. They showed against Aston Villa, and admittedly, it did fade. After that, some pretty half decent but not good enough performances. And then against Norwich, we really saw it come back to life. And with Dennis, he's so versatile. He can play on the left or he can play through the middle. And we've got Josh King as well. Looked really impressive against Newcastle, and just gives us that kind of flexibility in that front three. So I think Dennis is certainly one that, up against some of your centre backs, he's very good at winning aerial duels and winning those bullet headers. Yeah.
I mean, we've got a terrible record at Vicarage Road. Everybody in his dog knows. Let's have a look at some of the comments. We got Toon saying, "Hi, Paul. Sad to say, but I'm going 4-1 Watford. 7 players out. What on earth is Bruce doing to them in training? We are one ASM injury away from relegation confirmed." Evening, Paul. Hope you're well, mate. Paul has had his YouTube channel hacked in the last couple of days. He's got it back now, but good on you, mate. Stay strong, buddy. Jake, on the bright side, you're more likely to get a result than we are. I'm not sure who Leeds are playing this week, but
they're up against West Ham.
Good luck with that, Jake. The Muller does. Good evening, trolls. Adam, good evening. 2-0 Newcastle for his prediction tomorrow. Obviously, Adam will be at the game. Hope you're well, mate. Thank you for the messages of support recently as well. It means the world to us. But I will be going down to Wolves with him next week. That ticket's already purchased, so I'm looking forward to going down. But we could be going into that game, John, still yet to win a bloody game.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I look at the fixture list and I just cannot see where our next one is going to come from, because at the minute, we just haven't got the ability to have a go. We haven't got the ability to try, But the thing is, right, you just said it there. We need to try something different and we should be attacking them, not them attacking us. I mean, Roberto, I don't know our percentage as well. It's 35% possession we have in every game. At home, you're looking at about 35 possession the last game against Leeds. I mean, you can't have that possession at home. You have to have a goal. It is poor.
That's why we're not getting points, John, because we don't have the ball enough. And it'll probably be the same tactics tomorrow. No matter what formation we go in, it'll be give the ball to ASM and let him run. I mean, it is the same thing time and time again. And even when we changed formation last week, it was still get the ball to Saint-Maximin and let him bring the ball out. And then, of course, Saint-Maximin is absolutely knackered after an hour, and he disappears out the game. So if he doesn't do anything in the first hour, Saint-Maximin, we've got no chance of doing anything.
Yeah, I have to agree. Paul, we're just so predictable. We are every single game. I mean, if I was an opposition, right, like a Watford tomorrow, Wolves, I'll tell the scout, don't bother turning up, because there's one way you're going to play it, and that's it. They give the ball to us every single time. I mean, our defending, right, we just dropping back and back and back. We're going to end up treading on Darlow's toes if it carries on. We don't tackle, we don't press. right?
Well, the thing is, John, it'll be interesting to see, John. Right, tomorrow. We've been complaining that Lascelles doesn't push the defence up the pitch enough. We're saying that we need to be 15, 20 yards further up because we're too far deep and it's easy for teams to play around us and stay on side. But tomorrow, Lascelles isn't playing. So somebody else is going to be organising that back line, whether it be Fernandez, Sarr or Clark or whoever it is. Will there be any different? And will we see us maybe 15, 20 yards further up?
I think on the boost is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be for me. But you're right. They need to push up. They need to. I want to see Sarr playing the balls out from the back. Yeah, because he's a decent passer from the back. And Fernandez just mopping things up. Just get the ball and just play it simple. Don't hoof it up all the time because Watford can play football and they will play football. But you're right. They need to push up. They need to have a goal, keep the ball, play a bit of football. So I'm not hoofing up all the time. Yeah. And then see what you can do. Just try something different. And I've not seen anything different from this team at the minute.
Yeah,
and
I know.
It's always ASM all the time. And you just mentioned there about ASM being knackered, right, after 60 minutes, right? If he is knackered, who have we got as an attacking outlet? Who have we got to change the game?
Nobody, because if Saint-Maximin got injured tomorrow in the first 10 minutes or so, you try and look to see where the outlets would come from. And you look maybe to Almiron. He hasn't been performing this season. He had one good half against Man United. He's been absolute tosh the rest of the season so far. Yes, he works hard. He runs around, but the product has been poor. Daniel says, we will lose 2-1. Gutted, but too many players missing. Michael says, no surprise to Steve Bruce having a defeatist approach to the game. I take it, do you know Steve James, Roberto?
I don't think so. But...
No? Oh, well. Evening, Paul and guest, says Andrew. Steve says it'll be a loss. Jake says, interested in hearing how confident Watford fans are as a whole with this game.
I mean, that comment can be, thought of in a few different ways. I'm not confident. I am confident to an extent, but with Watford fans, we always have this thing that we go into every game. And look, at the end of the day, I respect Newcastle. You're a good big team that deserves to be, I think the quality you've got in some of your players getting further up that mid-table. But ultimately, we are still a small club and we don't have as much financial backing. But at the end of the day, we've been decent the last few seasons. We've tried to establish ourselves in the Premier League. And we do just have this thing. The Watford way is we go into games thinking, okay, we can really go at this. And there's a lot of hope more than expectation. But at the end of the day, this is the kind of game we could fluff up. We saw it against Norwich. It was a great 6-pointer win. We've had that mentality. But so often with Watford, and why we get frustrated, is that we don't show those consistent results. Yeah. And against Wolves, we were just not in it at all. And, Wolves hadn't scored up to that point. We gifted them the win. And we just got to hope we don't do the same. All respect to Newcastle and hope you have a good season. But I just think, for our point of view, we really have to just take these games and get them done.
I think to be fair, I mean, me and John will probably agree on this, that, if we look at the two sides summer transfer window, you guys have done a lot better than we have, without a shadow of a doubt. Brought in players that, if we're honest, the situation we're in, some of the players that you've brought in, we could have done. I mean, I know King was linked with us plenty times, but again, same old. We don't go for him. Players are rumoured to come to the club. Never comes to fruition. We've had players that were heavily linked and supposedly in discussion with us, like the central defender that went to Brentford. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head.
Christoph Aya.
That's him. He went to Brentford. Obviously, Josh King was mentioned a few times before he even went to Everton, because maybe linking up again with Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser, etc. from the Bournemouth days. It just doesn't come to fruition. And if you look at the way Watford are, like you said, Roberto, you're admitting that Watford aren't the biggest club in the world. But, I think with Watford, I mean, it's been like a sort of yo-yo with managers in the last few years. It's been unbelievable, how many managers you've got through. I think it's probably very important for Watford now that they get a bit of routine and stick with a manager for a good while. And they seem to have found the right one for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting point. Obviously, that label is attached to us. We are sometimes seen as this laughingstock club, but I just think it's the way we manage. It's the way we do things, and the Potsdams, the owners, aren't going to change that. Ultimately, it has worked for us. You know,
Yeah.
up to obviously before the last Premier League season, it was a working system. It was like, at the end of the day, if you're not going to get the best out of this squad, which, you know, in the Championship especially, it was a Premier League quality squad. We didn't really look like a team that should have gone down, but we just didn't put in enough effort in those final games of Project Restart. So it's about, you know, getting the most out of this team. We're a community club. We, you know, really focus on individuals, but we also have this really great team ethic. And I think that if you're not going to get the results, and although it seems cutthroat, although it seems ruthless, that's just our way. And I think we've just got to accept. Cisco Munoz has been absolutely unbelievable since he came to the club halfway through our Championship season. We were not in a good place at all.
Was it not last season? I think you beat Bristol City. Hello, Annie, by the way, one of my subscribers who's a Bristol City fan. You thumped them 6-0, I think, and then it just went from there, didn't it?
Yeah, that was the thing. So last season, we really had our bumps in the road, and under Vladimir Ivic, who was a very, you know, negative and just very, you know, joy-depriving manager, we just weren't getting enough quality. We were winning games 1-0. We were relying on a bit of magic, and then over December, Cisco Munoz came in and he just lit up the place. He's just such a lovely guy, such great team spirit that he got. And the important thing was he made sure the players were playing for him. You know, he's just certainly a great character that can be trusted. And he's so interactive with Watford fans. He's got his own social media, Instagram account. You know, he answers Watford fans' messages. He's very...
I've heard that about him, yeah.
He's very nice, and he's the right character. And I think with Watford, although we obviously want success, all we want is survival at this stage. We want a man who we're going to trust in. Graham Taylor, Elton John, we've had a lot of great family figures. And as long as we can get the character in that eventually develops, you know, Cisco Munoz admittedly is still very inexperienced, but he's learning, and hopefully he will get us to where we need to be.
Good stuff. Paul Bradbury, good evening, Paul. Thank you for the message as well yesterday, the email. I cannot imagine any side being worried playing against a monumental Bell End-led side, especially as we won't have a striker on again. Yeah, I'm not expecting that. Bruce is so clueless, he thinks an outhouse is a restaurant. Matthew, good evening. If we go 1-0 down tomorrow, the crowd will fully turn. Look forward to Jesus starting. For Roberto, that is Jeff Hendrick, by the way. We know up here as Jesus, or the Irish Messi, as we like to call him, John. No, couldn't get more sarcastic if we tried. Danielle, good evening. Thank you as well to you for the support yesterday. Thank you so much. Haven't heard a word that the Cabbage said today, and I'm glad. Well, you're gonna. I haven't got the audio from him. It's just obviously I've got the quotes from him, but I don't want to put the audio up because it sends people to sleep. Mark, good evening. Trolls thinks Hendrick is a laugh. Peter says, evening, Paul, John, and Roberto. Hope you're all well. We are. My comments have skipped a mile ahead again. Andrew says, I hear Everton are looking at Longstaff in the next window. They were looking at him in the summer as well. As soon as Rafa went to Everton, obviously the links with Sean Longstaff started. But it was interesting to hear Steve Bruce talk about Sean Longstaff today, saying that he's the last few games he thought he's been excellent and almost back to his best. John,
look, he is slightly better, but he still gives the ball away. But I still keep him because I think he's going to be really good. That's my opinion. But he needs to cut out and give the balls away, and also pass it sideways, backwards all the time. If he cut that out and show us the player Sean Longstaff is, show us the real Sean Longstaff he is, then we've got to play on him. And I want to see him take those long shots as well. Take those long shots. If you've got the confidence, Sean, take the long shots, because at the end of the day, we have not seen it for ages. But the thing is, I still think Rafa will still want him, but on a cut price as well. And Sean and Bruce has asked a question today about Sean Longstaff, and he's basically said that is down to the powers that be. That was his answer. Yeah,
I mean, it's a big opportunity for Sean Longstaff tomorrow with Willock if Willock's out, because he's going to have to lead that midfield. You know, because we'll probably have obviously Isaac Hayden in there as well. But as a driving force moving forward, Hayden doesn't really do that. It's going to be down to Longstaff, and that's what I've been wanting to see from Sean Longstaff now for a long time. driving forward. You know, there's clips on YouTube when he first started coming through, when he was on loan at Blackpool, etc., scoring some fantastic goals from on the edge of the box or just outside and actually driving at defenders. We haven't seen that for so long from Sean, and tomorrow is a huge opportunity. Jake says, Hendrick confirmed starting. Absolutely not. And if he is, I think there'll be hell on. Danielle says, will it be 5 at the back? We'll come on to that, Danielle, because I really don't know. You know, can you second guess Steve Bruce at the minute? I don't know. Gary says, good evening, Paul, John, and guest, Roberto. Good evening, Paul, John, and Roberto. Andrew says it's going to be a back 10. That wouldn't surprise me if we do that in the first 10 minutes, actually. Just sit back across the 18-yard box and let you guys have the ball, Roberto. To be honest, that's the way we've been playing. So, you know, it'll be, well, you have the ball. Try and break us down like it always is. Troll says, go on.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I mean, we play on the break as well. You know, we're not really a possession-based team. Carabao Cup game against Palace, I think we had about 27% possession. We won that game 1-0. So, you know, we are very much also playing on the break. But I think, especially at home, we saw that against Aston Villa, I went to that game the opening day. We just started straight out of the blocks. And it actually surprised me. I genuinely thought we'd, you know, soak up the pressure, try and hit Villa on the break. But we just took the game to them. And I think it's so important we do that. From our perspective again, because we do need the first goal. Often when we do score the first goal, we go on to win the game. So I think it's about confidence. It's about trying to, you know, get that foothold in the game and then seeing if we can set the tempo. We've got a lot of midfielders like Tom Cleverley, who was fantastic against Norwich, you know, captain in the side and or at least leadership qualities. He does often set the tempo. And I think if, especially with Willock out, he might, you know, have something to say in that midfield battle.
It'll certainly be interesting, because that's interesting to know about Watford being able to sort of hold on to a lead, because that's something we can't do. You know, we score in the 90th minute and we can't even hold on to a lead. So it'll be interesting to see if you guys do score first, whether you shut up shop and just say to Newcastle, come on to us, because we're shit at doing that, if we're openly honest. We can't do that. So it'll be very interesting. I think the first goal is obviously going to be very important tomorrow. James says, we pray he changes things, but we know he will stick with 5 at the back and put in Kraft and Hendrick, knowing Bruce, to replace Lascelles and Willock. Holy cow, if he does that, we're done for. Hendrick nailed on to start if Willock's out. No goal Linton up front, and Kraft to compound our total lack of pace and ability. Can't wait. A back false 10, says Jake. Kate, good evening. Hi, Paul and John from Jonathan. Evening, matey. Yeah. Evening, Andrew. Danielle says, Andrew, back 10 and we would still lose. You can see, Roberto, the pattern here of the confidence among the Newcastle fans. Good evening, Julie. Hope you're well. Beat says, we haven't the best record against Watford. I hope he doesn't play Richie as a left back or wing back, because he will be run ragged by Sarr, who has pace to burn. We've discussed that earlier on. It's a mismatch, if we're honest. Adam says the mentality from Sean Longstaff was shocking today. Stinks of Bruce bigging up the opposition. Good side, Watford, but Newcastle have to be going down for the 3 points. Yes, I'm not sure what he means about the mentality of Sean Longstaff. Let us know what you mean by that, Adam, because I'm not quite sure. Hi, Dave Harrison. He's down at an archery tournament tonight, so enjoy yourself, Dave. And thank you for all the kind words over the last 48 hours, mate. Really appreciate it. Right, we'll get our first comment from the myth and the legend that is Steve Bruce. Roberto, I know that this is obviously Newcastle based for Steve Bruce's comments, but it'd be interesting to actually hear someone from the outside what they make of these comments as to how they would rub off on your team. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Before a game. So the first one, John, was we've got a couple of problems. Joe Willock picked up an injury in training and Jamal Lascelles hurt his thigh against Leeds. So they unfortunately go onto the injury list, which makes it 5 or 6 we've got out. It's actually 7, Stevie. But that wasn't really any surprise there. Joe Willock's was a complete fluke. He kicked the ground and damaged his toe. He'll not make this week, and it'll be touch and go for next week as well. Jamal Lascelles is a muscle injury. Surprise, surprise. He tried yesterday, but it was no good, so it'll be a couple of weeks. Joe Willock kicking the ground, John. I mean, I'm struggling to come to terms with this bullshit, right? I really am. I mean, you know, I kick the ground every day. I open the door on my toes. The puppy bites me toes off, but I'm still walking around and running around. Well, not running around, but I'm still moving around. I find it incredible, you know. And then Jamal Lascelles, another muscle injury.
Yeah, he said it's a thigh injury as well. One power done a press conference reaction earlier on. But listen, oh man, it's just a joke, isn't it? Sort of thing. Very, very odd. I mean, yeah, you don't kick the ground by mistake unless you miscontrol it, sort of thing. But listen, someone ain't right there. And it's not good, isn't it? It's not good. Very odd. Very odd, Paul.
I don't understand it. I mean,
I don't understand it.
Watford's injury situation, Roberto, is it as bad as that? Or have you just got a couple of players?
I mean, previous seasons, like last season, for example, in the Championship, we were very unlucky with injuries. But this season actually has been pretty good. Obviously, Joao Pedro, who was fantastic for us last season, he's still developing, really great young prospect. He's been unlucky with injury and still not quite got the match fitness. And Kiko Femenino has just been absolutely brilliant for us. You know, we did well to keep him, as we did with Ismaila Sarr, but he is so good when he links up on that right-hand side. And for a fullback, he's just so attacking. And we saw that with a great assist against Norwich. So, unfortunately, he went off in that game. We think it might be a 50-50 call, but let's hope he starts because, you know, Ngaki is very, very good in that position, but he doesn't offer the same attacking threat as he does. But obviously, Ngaki is still very solid defensively. So I wouldn't be too disheartened. But generally, no, we haven't had a lot of injury problems, which has been good, I think, to try and get that consistent side.
Yeah, so you don't have anybody that's kicked the ground.
No, not yet.
I mean, Jesus Christ. You can't write the script at Newcastle. You cannot. Andrew says, I think Fraser could have a good match, like maybe even a goal, or am I being greedy? Depends if he starts him, to be honest, Andrew. You know what he's like with Fraser. A little strange. Joel says, now I know why Joe Linton has played bad. John is never at the matches. Yeah, John is a big fan of Joe Linton, Roberto. You know, so yeah. Jake says Rafinha really wore out Richie last game. I fear an injury if Bruce doesn't rest him. That's a very good point as well. I mean, he's the thing is, John, he's been really tested this season in every single game we've played, and you know, we know that he's not as young and as sproutly as he used to be. You know, jumping around. He's still got the energy levels, but the pace is lacking a little bit now. And is it time maybe that he brings Jamal Lewis in?
Yeah, definitely for me. I mean, listen, Matt has been absolutely great serve for Newcastle United. Yeah, still do a job. There is a position for him, right, in the team, but not a left wing back and not a left back. He has to play his best decisions on the left side of midfield, even the right side of midfield. And in that case, I said in my press conference reaction, Jamal Lewis will have to come out and start games now because the guy is still waiting for his time. And now this is the time. He has to give it a run of games now because he's coming from Norwich for £13.5 million, right? And he's just not been getting games. And I'll feel sorry for the lad because he's got potential there. He needs to be getting a run of games. But does Steve Bruce fancy him? I don't know. But, and also on Richie as well, I mean, the ball's just being played over the top every time he struggles to get back. I do not want to play him against Sarr tomorrow. If he does, he's going to get an absolute good one, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's a good point, the ball over the top, John, that you make, because he's been caught out a few times. And like you say, the pace of Sarr tomorrow could actually just cripple us, to be honest. No surprise, it'll be 5 at the back again. Steve Bruce refusing to realise it'll never work with the squad he's got. We'll have a couple more quotes from him. On Martin Dubravka, to be without him at the start when we didn't see it coming was difficult. It's good to see him back on the grass. We just got to be patient and see where he's up to, but he's just started training, so it'll be a couple of weeks away at least, which is probably what we expected from Dubravka. On Saint-Maximin, he says, I think it was his 5th 90 minutes, and he didn't do that through all of last season. I mean, what does that tell you? You know, he's actually bigging somebody up who's played 5 matches in a row. I mean, what? Come on. You know, it's unbelievable. You can see he's playing at the top of his game, but we need to find a threat from other positions too. Joe Linton arguably had his best game for the club last week. I cannot understand a manager bigging up somebody who's played 5 games on the trot. I mean, it beggars belief, John.
Look, I've never ever seen any other manager come out and say that sort of thing. Not even a great Fergie, Brian Clough. They don't come out and say things like that. You're in a team because you're playing well. It's as simple as that. You don't want to come out and say things like that because what is he trying to do? Is he trying to say that for potential buyers want to buy this guy? Is he trying to be a salesman sort of thing to come out and say things like that? Let's be real about it, right? He's playing because he deserves to be in the squad. He's been playing well. Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but don't come on and say that. You know, he's got to play the 90 minutes. You know what I mean? If he's fit, you got to play the lad. You know, if he's not fit, then I understand that. But he's playing well. I think he's been playing this season so far, Pete, and he's been playing well. He's got no injuries, touch wood. And I want to see ASM play 38 games this season. Whether you get that, I don't know.
Good luck with that, John. Yeah,
nice.
I mean, is that where we've come now, though, when we start to praise players for playing 90 minutes without being injured? I mean, that is just, I don't know. Trolls wants to know if we can swap managers, Roberto, just for the rest of the season.
Hey!
I'm all right.
I mean, Roberto, it'd be interesting to get your take on this. The way that the pundits talk about Steve Bruce, you know, especially our friends on Talk Sport, who me and John hold very dearly in our hearts. Anyway, you know, they go on about, you know, Gabiak Bonlahor, Simon Jordan, you know, all these, you know, who's the other one? Well, all of them, to be honest. Yeah. They all talk about Steve Bruce as he's like some sort of messiah, a god of a manager. You know, but if truth comes to it, they wouldn't have him at their clubs. You know, Agbonlahor knows exactly what Steve Bruce is like because he played under him. But because he's such an arse kisser, he wouldn't dare have a bad word to say about him because Talk Sport is Steve Bruce's fan club, basically. So they're not allowed to say anything negative against him. So from an outsider like yourself, I mean, obviously Steve Bruce has the worst ever record as a manager in the Premier League. We all know that. So from a Watford fan point of view, would you take him?
Look, I think it depends what division we were in, to be honest.
Right.
I think in the no disrespect, honestly, but in the Championship, I feel like he's effective. You know, at the end of the day, he gets defenses behind the ball and he grinds out points. But because of the potential for investment, obviously your takeover seems to have been up and down, always never quite being completed. But you're a big club, you know, you've got good players, and it's, you know, a club that players should be attracted to go to because there's a great fan base, great stadium, and at the end of the day, like I said, you can get onto better things. So I personally, in Watford's point of view right now, if you offered me him compared to any other Premier League manager right now, and Cisco, assuming that meant he left, I actually would take him because he knows how to get clubs. I know it sounds, he knows how to get clubs out of danger, and that's all we're looking for. And I think Newcastle are looking for a little bit more right now. But ultimately, I would say, in terms of style of play, I wouldn't want to choose him because, like you say, he just drains the life out of games, and I honestly think that you can have so much more potential and make use of your players in a different system.
Yeah, I think, well, you're right. I think it is the style of football Steve Bruce plays. I don't think Steve Bruce is actually used to playing with or having a lot of talent in his squad. If you look at the clubs he's been to in the past, especially Sunderland, they've not had a lot of talent there, and he's basically just dug results out. With Newcastle, if you looked at if we had a full side available and you looked at that first starting 11, that is good enough to compete. It really is. And John knows this as well. But he has to play them in the right positions. And he's not doing that. He's playing the exciting players. He's packing them into midfield. He's not letting them have free rein. He's not taking the shackles off them. And at the end of the day, that is hurting the team. But Steve Bruce doesn't recognise that. And that's the sad thing. He could be doing a lot better. Gemma, good evening. And Gemma, I'd just like to give a massive shout out to Gemma. She has been absolutely fantastic over the last couple of days with the messages of support, helping me through what has been an absolute shocking time for me with online trolling. But I'd just like to give a massive shout out to Gemma. Thank you for all your help and helping me get through it as well. So thank you very much, Gemma.
Big up, Gemma.
You're a
Big
star.
up, Gemma.
She says, think Watford will be confident on the back of a win, having the home advantage, us being without Wilson, Willock and 5 at the back. I'm predicting 2-1, our consolation goal from ASM or possibly Murphy. So again, there hasn't been many optimistic Newcastle fans in here apart from Adam, but I'd just like to point out that Adam said we beat Leeds 4-1. And that didn't happen. I also said we'd beat Leeds 3-1, and obviously it fell to pieces. Julie, I'm doing fine. Thank you for the support as well. I mean, so many. I'll speak about that at the end of the show. I want to take a couple of minutes to talk about that at the end. So I will be sort of thanking everybody. But Julie, you've been amazing as well. Thank you. Sean, good evening. I'm okay, mate. Andrew, yep, exactly. I'm actually going to start putting, when I start tweeting out now, I'm going to start putting FTT at the end of my tweets all the time to say exactly that. Trolls are people without brain power or people who don't use it. Andrew thinks it will be a tight game tomorrow. From what you said, Roberto, you know what I mean? The tight game will come as if that early goal comes and you decide to shut up shop. I don't think your manager will do that, though. I think if you get an early goal, I think your manager will have done his homework on Newcastle and think, right, heads go down when they get a goal down. We can really go at them and make a statement because, let's be honest, you know, Watford are probably going to be around that area the same as Newcastle this season. If we're both honest, it's going to be a sort of a really, really tight, congested bottom half of the table this season, as far as I can see. So Watford, I think your manager, if you got an early goal, could go around and say, right, let's make a statement to one of the teams we're going to be battling against this season to say, right, we're not going to, you know, we're going to go out and give you a hiding here.
Yeah, and I think that's what we did against both Aston Villa and Norwich. I mean, I think the Norwich game, we really did just let them back into it unnecessarily because we were on top in that game and the goal came against the run of play. And really, it was just a bit of a mix-up in communication between Foster and Cathcart. But I think it is important we just, like you say, make a statement because we did that against Aston Villa. And then classic Watford, you know, nearly bottle it at the end and 2 goals from Aston Villa. So as long as we don't make mistakes, and I think against Norwich, Danny Rose had another great performance. A few times I thought he could have, you know, he had a bit of a penalty shout where he might have been a bit more careful. But generally, his going forward, his defensive work looks so solid, and he put in an absolute peach of a ball for Jamal Sarr, nearly finished off that chance. So I'll be interested to see the battle, certainly up against, you know, Murphy for Danny Rose as well. And I think trying to keep hold of Saint-Maximin will be a great challenge for Danny Rose.
Who do you think in amongst that possible Watford starting 11 tomorrow do you see as the man who will, or players that will be able to handle Saint-Maximin without the risk of bookings or sendings off? Because obviously he draws the tackles in. So as an opposition player, you have to be very careful with him. Yes, he takes on too many players at times and gets carried away when he starts taking 6-7 players on. But is there anybody in that Watford side you'd be confident of being able to sort of match him?
Well, you say that, like the amount of times last season, especially in the Championship, where we would go through games, we would look pretty confident defensively, and then there'd just be that one talisman for a Championship team that would just, you knew that they were going to score, and we just switch off, and you think, how are you not picking them up? Because they're the ones to watch. So I think it's going to be a very, very tough test up against the Maximan, and I think our best chance of battling that out is probably between Danny Rose and William Troost-Ekong. Now, we've had a bit of a settled up back line because of the fact that Femini has not been fully fit all the time. But Ngaki is still quite a small player. He's very nifty, gets tackles in. But I think the speed of Saint-Maximin, although actually I say that, against Wolves, Ngaki, he started off the game quite poorly, but then really grew into it and actually shrugged off Traore at times and got some great physical strength in there. But I think Saint-Maximin's not a physical player. It's a different kind of opponent, and it's just about pace. So I think William Troost-Ekong, he has had a lot of slack from previous Watford fans, and I understand it in the Championship. He hasn't got the best of distributions. So if we play our pass out astray and Saint-Maximin is quick on a flash to it, then we'll be in for a real bit of trouble. But I think Rose has got the pace. You know, he's, as you say, really looking much more fit and much more determined to make a point, really. He's trying to play and prove a point. So I'm going to say Danny Rose, but I hope I don't, you know, give that the old death. the old Newcastle fan.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Just quick message, guys. If you are enjoying the show tonight, please don't forget to smash the like button for me. If you are new to the channel and like what you see, please do subscribe or consider subscribing. Before I went on air, I was actually 2 away from 3,000 subscribers, which is incredible stuff. So hopefully I can achieve that tonight and then start looking to build and build and build. And if you like to donate to the channel, obviously, as usual, super chats are available. Hit the $ at the bottom of the live comments and it'll take you through that way. Thank you in advance for that. Trull says, what people should think is if I met a person like this in real life, what would I do? Then often the answer is ignore. Well, yeah, exactly. Julie says, good evening, Mr. Sinclair. Michael says, Longstaff basically sounded like Bruce in his interview. Right, okay. Fair enough. And Adam goes on to say, interview today for Newcastle. Sean Longstaff just said how hard Watford away will be. Honestly. And Gemma says, hi, Paul, John, and fellow guests. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. It's Roberto. Is there a bit of Italian in your family by any chance?
I'm Portuguese, so half Portuguese.
Right.
Yeah.
Portuguese.
Yeah, we used to have a player, Roberto Pereira, so everyone thought when I got Roberto on the back of the shirt that I was doing it for him, but no, it's Roberto. So,
well, you don't sound Portuguese.
I
you sound like a typical Watford fan, to be honest. Julie says, Steve Bruce, the gift that keeps on giving. Jake says, Willock has glass toes. Yeah, he does. Keith says, how do we get all of these injuries from? It baffles me. I don't know what the hell they do. The Premier League will be paused next season due to the World Cup. It will do indeed, which is bizarre. Andrew says the injury room at the Toon must be like an episode of Casualty. Probably worse than that. You know, they'll have to go through the triage nurses and get tickets to be seen and stuff like that. But, I mean, Roberto, I don't know if you're aware of Newcastle United's training ground. I mean, normally when I get sort of opposition fans on, they're quite staggered by our training facilities. It looks like a primary school, for one, when you drive in the gates. There's normally a lollipop lady standing outside, letting the players walk into the ground over the road. Basically, our healing powers are wheelie bins with ice in them.
Well, you know,
it's no joke. They have paddling pools.
I mean, it's crazy, really. I mean, Watford have had a reputation recently for really good staff recruitment, and I've got to say, you know, I mentioned before the family feel of the club, but actually some of the medical team has been absolutely brilliant. You know, Kiko Feminir, I mentioned earlier, he had a really bad injury, and actually it was that Millwall game, which was the game he got promoted from the Championship, that he had a really unfortunate injury, and actually they did so well to get him recovered for the third game and the fourth game of the season, because it was one of those unfortunate ankle injuries that can really rule you out for a long time. So just thought I'd mention that.
Roberto, where did he came from, Kiko? Where did he came from?
We signed him from Leganes in La Liga. So it was at the time it was just a really exciting signing. We kind of thought he's going to be a sort of player. You know, the Watford philosophy really is get young, exciting players in and develop them, make them into, you know, a star, Ismail star, but also make them into a player who we can sell on and get profit from. And, you know, basically this is the platform for them to go on and have bigger, better things at a bigger club. And Feminir, I honestly thought by now that he would leave, because he was absolutely fantastic last season, one of our players of the season. He's just so consistent, and it's been great to have those kind of players attracted to the club, and great to see them stay. So
excellent. Taylor says, hi Paul, hoping for a 2-0 win with Maxi and Joe Linton to score. Michael, good evening, buddy. Hope you're well. Hi Paul, John, and obviously he's gone to spell Roberto and just hit the enter. Claire Marshall, good evening. Hope you're well, Claire. Hi guys, just realised you're live. Thought I was watching a pre-recorded. Can't wait for the game with some quite interesting emojis. Just wait till Jeff Hendrick is controlling the pitch tomorrow. You know, that'll be an enjoyable sight. Andrew says no chippers tonight then. Clearly not. I don't know where he is. Michael says, hi Paul, hope you're well. Hi John Roberto. There you go. He's finished off his message.
Hi Claire as well, by the way.
Yeah. Mia Tierson, hi, I'm a big fan. Thanks, Mia. Hope you're well. Andrew says, Mia Tierson. That's not one of his stupid names, is it? I don't think it is. No, I thought it was somebody being silly, but like we've had in the past, John. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Andrew says, looks like Martinez may go to Barcelona, and would Jones go? That'll be interesting. But then again, if you get a call saying, would you like to come to Barcelona, or would you like to stay at Newcastle working for Steve Bruce? I think there's only one answer to that, to be honest. And it certainly wouldn't be to stay at Newcastle United. Julie says, that pic of Saint-Maximin looks like a really crap still from The Matrix. Yes, it did. Gary says, Paul, I think we would still lose if we had a brick wall in front of the goal. Yeah, exactly. Paul also says, the scariest thing about Bruce is that he actually believes the shit he says. And he's convinced he's good at his job. The evidence doesn't support that. Clearly not. And Mia says, who's your guy's favourite player? At the minute, my favourite player, it's hard to pick one, really, because it has to be ASM, really. You know, he's the only spark that we've got at the minute. He's the only one that gets the ball and actually gets us out our seat. But we'll see. Five games, a personal best. It is actually a personal best for him. Mark says, Bruce talks more shite than a dyno rod engineer.
He does.
I know, yeah. Michael, thank you for the super chat, matey. I really, really appreciate that. You are an actual gentleman. Really are. And thank you very much for the text messages as well of support. They really have meant a lot to me over the last couple of days. So thank you very, very much. I can't appreciate you enough, Michael. I really can't. Andrew says, Darren bloody bent tosspot. Fair enough. Let's have a look.
I've done that.
Sorry, John. Danielle, thank you for the super chat as well. Absolute star. Thank you so much, guys. Judy says, Michael, I love your super chats, but are you sure you can afford them? Listen, Michael is a very, very sensible guy. I've met him, Judy. Don't worry about that. He's a big, big fan of the channel. Look, and he's just an absolute gentleman. And I know the shows have done a lot for Michael's mental health, etc. You know, so he just wants to give something back. And at the end of the day, if he couldn't afford it, he wouldn't put it in. So don't worry. But thank you very much, Michael. Right, let's see, get some more quotes from Mr. Bruce. Hang on. Asking because I've known someone who got into serious trouble with scratch cards. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry, Judy. Michael's he's a very, very sensible man with a very sensible head on his shoulders. So you've got nothing to worry about there about anything like that, Judy. But thanks for the concern. Right, let's have a look at a couple more quotes from the main man. Have we seen that one? Yes. This one was on the Leeds United draw. We decided to go to a back four and match them up in the middle of the pitch, which suited us, I believe. I enjoyed the game. It was difficult for us for 20 minutes, but we responded well. I thought it was a terrific game, so more of the same tomorrow. Thoughts on that, John?
Oh, he might have enjoyed the game, but the first half was absolutely shocking, wasn't it? Leeds could have put us out of sight 5 goals up. But we've been unlucky. We hit the post, and Joe had a good chance to strike the keeper. But listen, at the end of the day, I mean, Leeds' first half was all over us until we got that goal. But I want to see a back four. Right. I want to see a back four in future all the time. Yeah. It just goes to show, and I've always said, if you change it up and we have a real goal and get some out of the game, then okay, cool. I'll take it all day long. But now it has to get away with his back five. Play a back four. That's what it's got to do.
Do you think he will play? In all honesty, do you think Bruce will look at that game tomorrow and say, right, I am going to play a back four away from home against Watford, who we have a terrible record against at Vicarage Road? Can you honestly see the cabbage heat going 4 at the back?
The thing is, though, Paul, right? I can't understand what you're trying to say. That's a damn good question, by the way, right? We don't win many games playing the back five. Do you know what I mean? He has to play a 4 at the back, 2 in home midfield, 3 across, and 1 up front. 4-2-3-1. Because you got to try something different. He did that last week when Graham Jones came down and spoke to Richie and changed to a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, and it worked. Don't go back to a back five. It doesn't work. We've not been winning games, right? But, I mean, the best thing going forward now is play a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. I looked at that attack the second half. We actually played a 4-3-3, by the way, and it really worked.
Yeah, we know it does, John, and we can see it from a mile away. But this donkey can't for some reason. Stephen goes 2-1 Newcastle. I'm predicting. Hope you're okay, Paul. Yeah, and thank you for your messages as well, mate. He really appreciate that. Mia says good show. Hi, there's lots of chat going on here. Paul, you are so close to 3K. Thank you, mate. I know I am. Just a tiny bit to get over the line.
Yes.
Troll says, Bede said, we need other options instead of relying on Maxi all the time. I would play Fraser left, Murphy right, Almiron behind Maxi, and Hayden and Longstaff in the midfield. Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
And that actually gives us a very good outlet as well. Rather than having to rely on Maxi to bring the ball out all the time, that would actually give us some. Well, it would give us more space as well to work with, John, across that attacking lineup, and good chance to actually get some goals.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got balance there, you've got a defence there, and you've got attacking as well, and then you've got two sensible holding midfielders as well, if you know what I mean. But let the attackers attack. Let them do what they do best. Miggy as a 10. And you got Fraser. And you also got Murphy as well. You know, even Richie, I'll play Richie on the left side of midfield. Let them attack. Let them have a go. Let them enjoy themselves. You know what I mean? They're attacking players. But, like I said earlier, Steve Bruce just holds them back. And I don't want them to hold the players back. Let them express themselves. Football is an entertaining game. It's an entertaining sport.
It's supposed to be. I don't know if Steve Bruce sees it that way, but it's supposed to be, yeah. Gemma says, hashtag Team Paul FTT. Yeah, we should start a hashtag FTT, shouldn't we? That would be a good idea. Troll says, we need to change formation to the players we have, not what Bruce wants to do when we don't have the players for it. Exactly. Fantastic comment there. Jake says, to have other options, would need to play a formation and tactically bring other players into the game. Judy says, as a Watford fan, what would you say is your club's greatest strength? The area you feel most confident in, Roberto?
Great question. Well, I would say our best strength is basically battling. And I know that sounds a bit of a naive and vague comment, but what I mean by that is we do have great team spirit. We showed it at the end of the championship season. We showed it, to some extent in the last Premier League season, despite the fact we fell short. We can, on our day, I know this is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment, but, in the 18-19 season, we were pushing for Europa League. We looked brilliant against big teams, and we can be the best of the rest. But that's way far off right now. We need to focus on safety. We need to focus on getting results. But this team doesn't give up, and that is what I love about the club. We've got great mentality, and I think in this particular game, as you mentioned before, if Newcastle go a goal down, we know that we can just get at them and just cause a few more problems. And actually, the home support, the Rookery Roar at Vicarage Road is fantastic. So I'm hoping, from my perspective, that we can, get that momentum from the Norwich game and carry it forward.
I mean, I'd imagine that since the ground has been redeveloped, the atmosphere is a lot better now. I mean, I remember, as a kid, I went down once. I think I was in my early teens, and I couldn't believe it. I thought it was going to collapse. Especially where the players came on, there was the stands were there, but there was nobody on them, and it just looked like it was rack and ruin and grass growing through the stands and everything. But obviously, it's had a fantastic redevelopment, hasn't it? And it looks like a lovely stadium now.
Yeah, it's had great work done on it, and certainly since the days of 2013 championship seasons, week in, week out, and obviously the heartbreak of that season when we got all the way to the playoff final, and under Zola we just didn't quite have enough to get promoted. But we have really, since our promotion in 2015, just made great investment, and we've put money where its mouth is, and that's not just from a stadium point of view in initiatives. We've got a lot of work in the community and a lot of work surrounding the club. So I'm very happy. I'm very proud of my club. I'm not sure what the community thing and involvement is with Newcastle, but I'm sure, I'm just saying, I don't know how.
But honestly, that's what it's like. We hear about other clubs and how the work in the community and all the stuff that, getting fans involved in different enterprises and stuff like that. when we hear that as a Newcastle fan, we think, wow, you know what I mean? It's where we feel like mushrooms, Roberto. We're kept in the dark and fed shite, basically. That's what it's like being a Newcastle fan. We don't get to know anything. You know, we couldn't name who the boardroom is. You know, we couldn't. We know about Ashley, Charnley, and a couple of others, and that's it. They have nothing to do with the supporters at all, and that's why this takeover is vital for us, because these potential owners will redevelop not just the stadium, the team, but the Newcastle area itself, bring jobs to the region, redo everything, spruce everything up, and obviously the training ground and, you know, everything like that. And to hear that a club, you know, like Watford, you know, small community club like you are, you know, that's not being disrespectful. I'm saying it's fantastic, because Watford are going out into the areas and getting with the fans, asking for the fans' advice, asking for the fans' opinion on things. We just don't have that here at Newcastle. And to hear about a club like Watford doing it, it's fantastic for you as fans, because, you know, you want to be involved in your football club. It's your football club. But we feel so disengaged with Newcastle United as a football club. And that's really sad. Jake's got another question for you, Roberto. Was the quality down in the Championship last season better or worse than the last time you were there?
It's a good question. Well, I think it's interesting because in that 14-15 season where, you know, we really from the off looked really good, winning games, looking confident, there was a lot more hope and a lot less expectation. And I think that's the pressure that was built on that 2020 to 21 season. We knew that if we didn't go up that season, we would lose a lot of key men. We would lose a lot of, you know, finance that was important to redevelop back into the club. And, you know, we were a club, as I mentioned before, that just looked like a Premier League team, and we would lose a lot of our structure and a lot of our kind of attacking potential. But I think it was so important and so vital that we got promoted, because we knew it was about getting a tune out of those players that really did have the quality. So, to be honest, I think it was a very difficult season at times, but what we did do was we always whipped in crosses. And I mentioned before Kiko Feminia, it was just a very different kind of game. The first half of the season, we, as I mentioned, relied on those moments of magic. Joao Pedro often got them. So there were some difficult games. We really had to ride through those. But then, as you mentioned, after Cisco Munoz came in, he brought so much momentum. And actually, we changed back to a formation where in a 4-3-3, after Dini got injured, we were looking much more of a threat going forward. We had Zinkernagel coming in. He looked really good. Obviously, he's not quite been up to Premier League standard and he's had to move on. But, you know, we've looked much more dynamic in that shape. And actually, that was the shape we started the season with. We actually moved a bit more to a 4-2-3-1 against Norwich. But it's a 4-3-3, which we like to see. We know realistically we're not going to dominate games. So it's attacking formation and it's, playing on the counter.
Yep, cool. Spudley says, I'm worried we will lose again, only a matter of time before we are bottom. Wendy says, hi, Paul, who will wear the armband tomorrow? That's a good question. Will it be, though, John? Because if Fernandez gets brought back in, then he would probably be skipper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's standing skipper, and he saw, because Shelby's out injured, and he'll be out, so it'll probably be Fernandez then, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah. Jamie says, I'm quietly confident still 2-1 the Toon. Paul says, I have a horrible feeling that ASM will get injured tomorrow and be out until January, then sold for 35 million. It's a bleak sign, that. Andrew says, Jamie, me too. That's what I'm going for. Danielle says, not sure I can take another Bruce performance and a loss. Might just stay in bed.
Wow.
You never know at the end of the day. Like, this is two teams that, as you mentioned, will be down there in the relegation fight. And on paper, as you say, Watford going into this feeling confident, but we know it was Norwich. You know, they're going to be one of the weakest teams this season. So it's not to say that we didn't deserve that result, but we will have a lot harder fish to fry this season. So I think on the day it could go either way, but obviously I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I think, it's hard for me to think. I mean, I went for a win last week and it just didn't materialize. Ethan says, your defense is terrified. Big Joe's on fire. Is he? John loves Joe Linton to bits, says Thomas. Claire says, "Hi John, hope you've had your chocolate pudding treats today."
I had those little white chocolate cookies today. So I had that today as a treat. So, but apart from that, I've been good all week.
Well, that's good news. The man who's stick thin, wanting to be on a diet.
So funny there. But Claire's the fitness lass as well, so she loves the chocolates and puddings. So I love to wind her up about chocolates and puddings and that sort of thing. She loves it really. So you never know.
You don't. You never know. Right. Good evening to you as well. We'll go on to the final couple of quotes from Mr. Bruce, and then we'll get Roberto's final thoughts before we let him go, and me and John go on to talk about the trolls. But Ethan says, but guys, even if Big Joe's out of form for a bit, we have the Swedish mastermind super sub in wingback, which is obviously talking about Kraft. Anthony says the NBA will be happy with a point or more. Of course he will. It's all he ever cares about. He went on to say, on the injuries, I think after the next international break would be the return of most of them. Maybe next week is a bit too early, so that break up until the Tottenham game will be needed. It's difficult, but when you're without 5 or 6 players, of your big players, it's even more difficult. We're only talking 5 games into the season here, and this is what really 5 or 6 games in is frustrating the hell out of me, that we're talking about an injury crisis. You know, it's a needing a break in the league in order to get these players back. It's utterly pathetic. And this is what he went on to say about Watford. They're very, very good in the top area. Josh King and the boy Sarr is dangerous in wide areas. They have good players, like all clubs do. We need to go there and try to come back with a positive result. I look to try and win every game. Now, notice the word try there, John. This is what this man does. We will try. He never says, we're going there to win. We're positive. We're really up for the game. We're going to go at Watford from the word off. It's no. Watford are a great side. He says, Watford are this, Watford are that, and we'll try. Like he just keeps us ticking along, John. Ticking along. Let's wait, see how we get on. And then when we eventually get stuffed again, he'll just come out and say, well, I saw the positives.
Wow. The thing is, he's such a defeatist manager. I've never known anyone who's so defeatist every single time. Can he not come out and talk positive about us for once, yeah? That's all he has to do. Be truthful to us and stop bringing up other teams. He's been doing that all the time. Bringing up other teams. Oh, by the way, Josh King doesn't play wide. He's a number 10. He can play up front, yeah? I've got to correct him on that as well. But the bottom line is, one fellow will say, right, that I want to go. I was in the press conference just saying, look, I want to be positive. We're going to go there, give it a go. I want the lads to go to have a go. Do you know what I mean? But saying, try this and try that, he doesn't seem confident in himself.
When do we ever say that? Roberto, is Lazar's left the club now, hasn't he? But Rob Elliott's still there, because there was rumours he might start tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I don't think those rumours are really have any weight to them, because there's been a bit of speculation really about the Watford goalkeeper in the last few weeks. Obviously, to start the season, Bachmann was number 1 for me. I think a lot of Watford fans would agree with that, because he was brilliant. Foster got injured in the Championship and he came in and he was brilliant. Just so consistent, so many double saves, and he had a great Euros with Austria. A lot of people forget that. So he had to start the season. He's the more confident pick, but Foster's such a reliable, safe pair of hands. And despite the age of 39, he's still going strong, and is the man that can come in for those kind of more 6-pointer games that we showed against Norwich. Yeah. And there was rumour that Bachmann was injured. Then it was reported that he was actually just left out Bachmann, but then it got confirmed again. Maybe he had a knee injury. So I think I see Foster starting against Newcastle, and I think that is the kind of game where if we do control, as much as Newcastle have a threat on the break, if we do control the game, I think that the more Watford kind of frustrate Newcastle, the less Foster will have to do. But I do think he's certainly a good range and a close range shot stopper.
Yeah, great stuff. Danielle says 2 bloody dead pigeons, says everything you need to know about this club. Rotten. Roberto, if you don't know what that means, basically we've had in the Gallagher end of St James's Park, we've had a dead pigeon there for 5 years. It's never been moved, and this is the sort of thing that Mike Ashley the maintenance of the ground is terrible. And now there's been one located in the other end of the ground at the Leeds end as well. So that's why everybody's going on about pigeons. I wonder who's behind the Gallagher Pigeon account on Twitter. Who knows? It is quite a funny account, actually. Danielle says, it's the bare bones. Stock the bar, get the jet wash out once in a while, fix the hand dryers in the toilet and have some bloody pride. Exactly. Chris says a back four and push Hayden and Sarr up to sit in front. Would be better and go forward quicker than the sodding back five. That's not a bad shout, actually. Paul says those pigeons probably have Sports Direct leg rings on, so Ashley leaves them there for some extra advertising. Oh, my God. Is Elton John still at your club, Roberto?
Yeah, he's still the chairman of the club. And, I think it's just been great that he's carried on the vision that Graham Taylor had. He was a legendary manager, our greatest ever manager, and he just gets in the right players and gets in the right men at the club. And as I mentioned, Cisco Munoz is that kind of character. So, he's still, turns up to a few games and certainly is very passionate about the club. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would ever say he isn't passionate about Watford Football Club. His passion over the years for Watford has been truly incredible. Judy says, would the Watford fan like to hear my many John Sinclair facts? Probably not, Judy. Probably not.
I have no clue who that is. So
no,
I'll be honest.
He's above you. He's above you on the screen.
Apologies, sorry.
Don't worry, you weren't to know. You didn't know. I haven't got the names on the screen. I just said John before we started the show. I didn't actually tell you his surname, so don't worry. Right. Before you go, Roberto, give us an honest prediction. Not what your heart says, but what your head is telling you.
Oh, that's the difficult bit. I always go with my heart. Look, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be an interesting game. I think, as I mentioned, the first goal is going to be massive.
Yeah.
And I think we are going to get it. So I'm going to back. I originally predicted a 3-1 Watford win, but that's just my optimism blowing out the water. So I'll take a cagey 2-0 win. Even if we are, getting 3 points, I think we're not going to do it spectacularly. And 3 points is what we need after a tough run of games coming up in November. I think it's a big game for us, but probably, to be fair, a bigger game for you right now.
Yeah, apparently I've hit 3K now, so thank you very much, Thomas. I'll check that after the show. Roberto, thank you very much for coming on and guesting. Me and John are going to continue for another 10 minutes or so
Sure.
Don't anybody switch off yet. But thank you very much for coming on, Roberto. It's been a pleasure. So please, we'll get you back on the channel definitely in the future, mate. And do you want to give your YouTube channel a shout out?
Yes, thank you. It's been great to be on here. Thanks for having me. So I've got 2 YouTube channels. One is for fantasy football players. It's Fantasy Premier League, so it's called FPL Yellow Army, all non-caps. All capitals. And also my main football account where I do predictions and general Watford match reviews is Roberto the Hornet. So thank you so much.
Well, I've put one of the links down in the description. I'm not sure which one it is now, so
no worries.
But you'll find the links on each channel anyway. So thank you, Roberto. It's been a pleasure, mate, and take care and good luck for the rest of the season apart from tomorrow, buddy.
Thanks, John. Thanks.
Take care, Roberto.
Take care, guys.
What are you doing, mate?
So that was Roberto, absolutely top lad. He got back to me on Twitter and said he'd love to come on. He's trying to build his YouTube channels up and things like that. So it's great. John, if you've got another 10 more minutes, matey, we'll talk about the dark side of social media and YouTube in a second. We'll just go through a couple more comments. Gemma says, ticking along like a broken clock, unfortunately. Yep. I'm getting congratulations for 3K. I must have hit it, so thank you very much. A broken clock is right twice a day, Gemma, which is twice as much as Steve Bruce is. There you go. Thomas says that should be 3 billion. Thank you very much. It would be lovely to have 3 billion subscribers. I'd be living in a mansion, have a yacht, a few Ferraris. I'd have John Sinclair, I'm sure I'd actually set John Sinclair up with a proper studio. We'd have it all. We'd have it all. Jenny says Bruce puts everyone to sleep. Damn right he does. Thank you. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Andrew. Do not scratch your eyes. Okay. Graham Taylor was another gentleman of the game who sadly the press attacked. He was a gentleman. I'm not sure As an England manager, he was that good. Thanks, Gemma. Appreciate that. But he wasn't the greatest England manager, John, was he?
Not the greatest, to be quite honest with you. The corner turnip as well. He's the manager didn't get us to qualify for the 1994 World Cup, and he was in Holland's group. And he considered a goal against San Marino, which is some sort of quite quickly sort of thing. But listen, end of the day, he wasn't a great manager. And it's just all on balls. That's what
he did. Well, he did. I think he did okay for Villa, didn't he? And he certainly did okay for Watford. I think he's still held in fantastic regard there. Danielle says, well done. No dickhead troll will get you down, Paul. Proud of you, mate. Thank you very much, Danielle. Right. Now, just before I end the show, I obviously have to say this because of what's been going on in the last couple of days. Since my show with Steve Wraith on Wednesday, the show was a massive success. Whatever the trolls like to say, it was a massive success. I've gained a lot of new subscribers. I've gained a hell of a lot of followers on Twitter. Good people. The messages of support that have come out and helped me get through these last 48 hours have been absolutely immense. People that have reached out, obviously, from who watch Steve Wraith and have just got a hold of my channel, just got a hold of who I'm about. John, your stream was interrupted last night by somebody, pretending to be me. Obviously they just changed the username and the emoji to say who they were. It was exactly the same as mine. But luckily I was watching John's show last night and I immediately texted him to say that it wasn't me that was sending them comments in. Danielle obviously got involved as well because somebody else came back on pretend to be me at the back end of the show, saying that I was bankrupt, that I was broke, I had no money, I was this and that. And obviously Danielle messaged me very concerned about what was going on behind the scenes, but it wasn't me. These people, I'm not going to go off on a massive rant with them tonight because that's what they want. They want me to lose my temper on here, scream and shout at them, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. All I will say is that these people have been exposed now as to exactly what they are and have gone down in so many people's estimations. People who thought they were decent people, they've turned out to be trolls. All the trolls getting together in the little huddles, in the little groups, and trying to attack people. It won't work. Because what I've found out over the last 48 hours is the 95% of the Newcastle United community on Twitter are fantastic people, lovely people who I am proud to call friends as well, who I've met. Some I haven't met yet, but I will. But the bottom line is this has to stop because it is ruining people's lives. Some people have a lot more skin, thicker skin than others, and some people have put up with it for months and months. Now, I happen to, like Steve Wraith. He has done a lot for me in the last 48 hours with the support from all the trolls. You don't have to like Steve Wraith. You don't have to agree with everything he says. But I've seen Steve Wraith behind the camera and on top of the camera. And, I don't care what anybody says. I will be friends and I will associate with people who I want to associate with and won't be told otherwise. And I'm sure that goes for you as well, John, and 99% of the people watching here. It's basically sick. The abuse I've had in the last 48 hours has been disgraceful. I didn't sleep on Wednesday night because of the abuse I was getting. It really did get to me, I'll be honest. I woke up on Thursday morning and I was ready to jack the whole thing in. I spoke to you, John. You remember that I told you that on the phone. I was just thinking, right, I've had enough. I'm trying to do something I really love. I love having all the subscribers. I love the interaction with them on the live shows. I love doing my live shows. But where does it end? Because it just doesn't end with the people you're targeting. It ends with the family of that person, the friends of that person. You don't know how far you go, with these fake tweets, fake messages, abuse, threatening. I mean, I've had people messaging me threatening my life, which is absolutely pathetic. I mean, you know, where do you people get off doing that? You know, do you scare me? Not at all. Not at all. Because I know you haven't got the balls to come and say it to me face. Because if you did say something like that to me face, you'd be drinking milkshakes for 6 months because you'd have no teeth left in your face. Because I won't put up with threats face to face. I won't put up with them online either. But the police are involved now. And I've also found out over the last couple of days that these people have targeted others who are now getting the police involved. And it is only a matter of time before these people get knocks on the door. And trust me, you will. And I'm not going to sit back and let it go. I'm going to take this all the way this time. Now, I'm not going to stress out about it anymore. I'm going to do what I have to do to get these people eradicated. You know, it might be a one-man band, but it might not be, because I know a lot of people are behind us when I'm doing this and going to the police and actually doing something about it this time. You know, screenshots have been given to the police. External website links have been given. Everything they need. All the threats, all the abuse, all the disgusting acts that I've seen over the last 48 hours towards me, my friends, and everybody else involved, it is sickening to the stomach. And you guys won't stop. We know you won't stop because you get off on it. You know, you've got nothing better in your life to do than sit behind a computer, behind your little keyboards, and type out nasty messages threatening people, or trying to put messages out to the rest of the app and things like that, to say that, you know, you've done this or you've done that, when it's all bollocks, and it's been proved to be bollocks. But you haven't won. And that's what I find hilarious. You haven't won. You've tried to destroy me and you've failed. Now, yes, I was in a bad way yesterday. I'll be openly honest. I was tired and I was ill because of it all. But I've had magnificent support from everybody, and support that I will treasure. And I will remember for a long, long time the support that certain people have given me. And I will never, ever forget that. Because I've been accused of things in my time, and I will not put up with it anymore. Because, yes, I've made mistakes in the past. I've made horrendous mistakes in the past, as every human being does. They make mistakes. But one thing I've done is I've learned from those mistakes. I am not the guy I was even 5 years ago. I am a decent guy. I'm a decent father. I'd like to think I was a fantastic dad. My kids mean everything to me. They mean more than anything. I would die for my children. But these people do not know the effect that they have on everybody else involved in that person. They target a person, but their friends and family see all that as well. And it's absolutely sickening. And those people, if you are watching this channel tonight, you know exactly who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking to. You are sick in the head. You have a serious problem. You're just an attention-seeking bunch of half-wits, quite honestly. You have failed in what you have been trying to do in life, and you are desperate for the attention. And it's not going to work. So I am going nowhere because I've got people on my channel, on my Twitter feed, that believe in me, that have been so positive towards me over the 48 hours, and I will never be out of their depth for doing that. Never, ever. It's incredible. And John, I wanted to keep you on while I said this, because you have been amazing the last 48 hours.
Thanks,
the phone calls, the just keeping me right, the talking you've done to me over the last 48 hours on the phone. You know, I know we have banter on a Monday night and stuff like that, but you know how I feel about you, John. You're a brother to me, and the support you've given me over the 2 days, incredible, absolutely incredible. Susan as well, I know you're watching tonight. You have been incredible. It was very, very, very tough for you yesterday. They tried to destroy you. It didn't work because you've seen. And you've seen the absolute messages of support that I've had, the absolute incredible reaction I've had. So to you as well, just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well said. Well said.
And I'd just like to give a few shouts out as well. And I don't care who doesn't like me shouting about these certain people. I don't care. You know, I will respect and follow the people that respect me, and I'll give them the same respect back. Steve Wraith, a A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people have got bad things to say about him. A lot of people give him dog's abuse. But what I'd just like to say to Steve is, you've been a rock over the last couple of days, Steve. Since you came on my show, you're an absolute gentleman. And the support that I had, taking the time out yesterday to ring me at lunchtime because of all the crap I was getting, to make sure I was okay, that is the sign of a proper man who takes the time out of his busy schedule to give me a ring. And the trolls can watch this and say, oh, he's kissing his ass, he's kissing his... I don't care. You know, I respect people. I have respect for people. Holly Blades as well.
Big up, Holly.
I've had me differences with Stephen Holly earlier in the year. I apologised for that. And since then, but over the last 48 hours or since Wednesday night, Holly, you've been incredible as well. The messages of support and just making sure I'm okay. Gemma Summers, as I said before, thank you very, very much. You have been absolutely incredible with the screenshots you've sent me to help me catch these guys. Has been incredible. So, Gemma, you are an absolute angel. Thank you very much. Danielle, again, fantastic. Thank you so much. Barry, Peter Proudlock, Keith, everybody. It's just been Paul Bradbury, the emails, everybody. I mean, there's too many to mention, to be honest. And I'm sorry if I don't actually call you out by name, but you know who you are because you have sent the messages. The bottom line is here, what I'm trying to say is the trolls will never win. We had a very, very bad situation with a Newcastle fan called Martin over the last couple of days who had threatened to take his life. Now, we were all very, very worried about this. Martin has turned out to be safe and well. He's in the right place now, getting help in a psychiatric unit. He won't mind me saying that because he wanted everybody to know that he's okay. That's more important to anybody else is people's lives and the way people are. It's just I'm sorry if I'm ranting on here, but this is important to me. It's important to me to get this out because obviously over the last 48 hours I've been brewing. But what they wanted me to do is come on here tonight and absolutely go crazy, scream at the camera, rant on and stuff like that. I ain't going to do that. I just want everybody to know how appreciative I am of everybody's help that I've had. Because when you read things like, oh, I hope you die, your kids are going to be embarrassed about you because of your illness. Yeah, I have an illness, but you wouldn't sort of see me in public and think, oh, he's ill. He's got an illness. Because it's under medication and it's getting managed really well. But then, you don't deserve to have anybody in your life. You don't deserve to have that special person in your life because you'll just make them miserable because you're ill. You've got no life. You may as well die. These are the messages that you get. Now, they've, as I say, all been passed on to the relevant authorities and they will do something about it. And I was broken yesterday a bit, but then I realised, and then to get a phone call from none other than Peter Beardsley was amazing. One of my heroes growing up as a kid to take time out to say he watches the channel. So hi, Peter, if you're watching. He watches the channel. He loves what we do. And also the fact that he's been through a lot, obviously, with Newcastle United in the last few years and how he dealt with the online abuse. Well, sorry, abuse. He doesn't go on social media anymore and things like that. For him to take the time out and say that he's staggered by what I do and what I put up with because obviously, with the illness, I still get off my backside and do this channel and try and want to make a success of myself. And that's all I want. I do this full time now because of that. I have to. It's all I've got. But I'm lucky I've got a very, very strong family around me, and we all come through it. And we've all come through it. Not just me, my kids, my family. We've all come through it. All my subscribers, all my followers, they're the ones that count to me. You just don't know how special and you are because you've helped me build this channel from scratch again. You have stuck by me through thick and thin. I welcome new subscribers every day, which is fantastic. But you guys genuinely mean the world to me. And I'm not saying that because you subscribe to my channel. I'm saying it because you helped me through the bad times. And it's amazing. And John, you're one of those people that has, been there for me. And I will never, ever forget that. I won't.
Right.
And just on a last note to the trolls, you've failed in what you've tried to do. You may go on and target somebody else, but one thing is, we will all stick together to fight you off, because you're pathetic losers. You have no lives. You have no place in this world at the minute, because if you're just going to destroy people like you do, you should be just sent to an island and left to live there, away from society, because you are not proper human beings. You're disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful.
Well said.
So I'm done with the trolls. They're not gonna stop me. They're not gonna get me through. Well, they're not gonna make me break. I nearly did yesterday, but like I said, the phone calls I had, the support I had, made me realize that there's so many good people outweighing the tramps, because that's what they are. They're just dreadful people, and I'm not going to give them any more airtime now. I've said what I've got to say. You've failed in what you've done. You lot have been exposed as the bad people here, not me. You've failed in what you've tried to do, which is really funny, because the ones I've had today have still tried to have a go at me for screenshots and things like that, and they don't realize that they've failed. They've been pathetic, and they haven't won.
Bunch of money on Manuel Bellens.
Yeah.
Bunch of money on Bellens.
Yeah.
And like I add that as well.
2 seconds, John. They'll crawl right back under the rocks tonight, and then they'll think, right, who can we target now? But listen, my ambition, my final point is, my ambition is for all the podcasts to come together and actually we support the same team. We love Newcastle United. So everybody isn't going to agree with everybody with what they say or the ideas that they have. But now it's time, especially the state that the club's in, the time is to move on for any bitchiness. Let the tramps and the trolls get on with what they like doing in their pathetic little worlds under the little rocks. Let them get on with it. But for us, we're a club that needs the fans to be united, need to come together with ideas about how we get the club back to some sort of ambition. And that's what we need. I love all the other podcasters. I've got nothing against anybody that does the podcasts. And I'm very, as far as I'm concerned, I'm friends with them all. And I just want us to be all as one. And that's my last wish. So thank you, everybody, for staying on the channel tonight and listening to that. I've probably rambled on too much. But John, what were you going to say?
I was about to say as well, first of all, what you said tonight, word for word, bang on the money. Absolutely bang on the money. Yeah. And all the trolls, right, like you said, sort of thing, if they want to do things like that, that's fine. But you're not going to beat us. We created this podcast, right, because it's something we enjoy doing. These people don't want to do this. They might fail. Yeah. But all I'm saying, right, you've got to be together stronger. Yeah. Don't let these troll wins, these scumbags wins. Yeah. They're a bunch of losers. Right?
Yeah.
And what you've done, Paul, right, big up to you, my guy. Big up to you. You've done a wonderful job. 3,000 subscribers you've got. Well done, you. Right? Don't let them win. They love you. We love you. Everyone loves you. Right? We love the content. We love what you're doing. Yeah? It's your life. But I say now, all these trolls, whatever go at us, Paul, myself, Bazza, Peter Proudlock, or Steve, or Holly Blades, right? Don't take us on because you'll not win. I'm telling you that for note. They will not win.
Yeah.
Give it up. Stop this now, right? Admit you failed and just move on. It's as simple as that.
Thanks, John. Right, that's the end of the show, guys. Like I say, thank you very much for staying on and listening to that. I just had to get that off. Right. Susan. Love you too. Thank you very much. That's Susan, by the way, if you're wondering. So you can see that they haven't won. It's been quite emotional for me to talk about that tonight, judging what I've been through the last couple of days. But I'm just glad everybody stuck with me, stuck together. And now I can look forward and just do everything that I want to do on this channel with the people that mean the world to us. Like everybody that's watching tonight, the people that come on my channel, the Four Horsemen is just I love doing that. The people that come on Fan Forum, all that kind of stuff. And I know you like seeing me rants on recorded videos, and there'll probably be one over the weekend when we lose again. But hey ho, I wear my heart on my sleeve. What can I say? I will take time to read all the comments that have come in while I've been talking, guys. I'm sorry I haven't put them on the screen, but I'm going to sort of read them when we finish the show and take it all in. So thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate it. John will be back with me on Monday night. And, of course, we'll be reunited with Peter and Barry, who are back again for the Four Horsemen. I will be releasing a video of the review of the game over the weekend. So look out for that as well. John, what's on your channel this week?
I'm going to do the live watch-along tomorrow. As you well know, well documented. I'm going to do a bonus one on Sunday between Arsenal and Tottenham. I'll be doing that. Review on Monday night. Tuesday, I'm going to do, excuse me, like a special Fan Forum America. So it's two lads, Steve and Mike's going to come on, both from America. Going to do chat about Newcastle on Tuesday. So I'm going to do like different countries sort of thing. I've done India last week. It'd be America's turn. And then after that, it could be Australia. It could be China. It could be Thailand. It could be, all these world sort of like
get to know fans from around the world. I think it's a fantastic idea, really is.
And that's a new one. Thank you. And I did a special one last Sunday when there's like a Twitter Muppet thing, like name and shame, like I did last Sunday, like the one I did Talk Sport one, where I actually exposed Carlton Core and Cattle and read what they said about Newcastle. They got Steve Boost. So anything embarrassing is a name and shame. So I'm going to start doing that as well on a regular basis. Once I think 2 weeks and that. So, and I hit my 1,000. What I love to do, I love to get bigger names. The one guy I would love to come on my channel, there's two. Well, Steve is one of them. Love to Holly again, but John Gibson. He's the guy that I really want to get on my channel, John Gibson.
Well, all I can say, mate, is just keep working hard, keep doing what you're doing, and you'll get there, buddy. I know you will. I've got
Thank you,
total faith in you. You know I'm there if you need any help.
Thank you.
But listen, we're going to end the show there, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the preview as well. And then, sorry if I rambled, but I needed to get it off my chest. But guys, you're all amazing. Simple as that. You're just incredible. And I love you all for giving me this opportunity to do what I love doing on YouTube. So massive big up to everybody. And we'll see you soon. Have a fantastic weekend. And let's just hope that we bring the 3 points home. Take care, everyone. Next, we'll see you on the Four Horsemen. Take care, guys.
Shoulda love.